to do a bunch of different things, man. Can I play music at the same time, you know? Because I want to do something, you know, like, finna revisit some game or something. Anyways, can I play some music, bro? Let me see. Let me see, let me see, let me see. I think this is, yeah, this is not. Let's play this, bro. Already sang it, bro. It's possible, right? Play music at the same time. We're gonna play some tic-tac-toe, bro. I haven't played in so long, bro. Like, I wanna show you how perfect play is done, bro. And we're gonna switch music, different things, bro. I already talked about this website, you know. On my tutorial video. You gotta watch my tic-tac-toe, how to never lose tutorial, bro. If you wanna master this game. Anyway, let's get to it. What we're gonna start with we're gonna start with novice, okay? All the way to expert, which is unbeatable, okay? So let's start with novice. First way. Five zero, right? Let's switch to intermediate. Or go turn on intermediate. Turn on. Then we're gonna switch to experience. You gotta be 15 now total, right? This is perfect play. This is the perfect demonstration of perfect play. You can only force a win if the opponent makes a mistake. A lot of people think that perfect play equals always winning, but it's not true. Anyways, we'll stop the music afterwards so I can focus with expert, you know? My goal is to go 15-0, so all draws. I'm trying to play fast too, but I can make a mistake if I keep playing fast, you know? Okay, let's switch to experience. So the goal is 30. I need to go 30 now. Let's see if we can do it. If you want to understand the strategy, you gotta watch my video. Tic-tac-toe, how to never lose, ultimate guide. It's a very detailed video, you know. It teaches you everything. It teaches you everything you need to know about the game. 20. Okay. Five left. One left. Alright, let's go, bro. I'm done with the music. Let me remove the music, bro. I gotta focus now. Bro, what is this? I gotta focus now. So let's clear the stats. Let's see if we can draw 50 games. In the first 25 games, I'll play with X. I'm gonna start first. In the second half, you know, I'm gonna switch to O. We'll see if we can survive this. Anyway, let's do this. So this is a good demonstration of perfect play, you know, in these board games. It's like tic-tac-toe is strongly solved in my brain, you know. I know, like I always play perfectly, you know. Unless like if you don't take into account like human error, like misclicking or losing focus, you know, because we assume that I'm in a good, perfect state, you know. If I'm playing in a perfect state, you know, full focus, no distractions, you know, no fatigue, then I can't lose. But I gotta focus, man, because sometimes, like, in the side games, it can get complicated. Sometimes I click it, it doesn't register for some reason. I can lose because of this shit, man. I mean, if I want to draw like 100 games, you know, I can just play like you know, go for the easy draws, you know, you start in the corner, you know, the opponent plays it in the middle, you know, then play normal. I mean, it's easy, but I'm trying to complicate things on purpose, you know. I'm trying to play the side game, to play the, you know, the middle game, the corner game, you know, on purpose, to complicate things a bit. Because otherwise it will be too easy. So here I can place anywhere, right? Yeah, I can place anywhere. There is no loss here, right? So 22 draws. One left. Now let's switch. Let's see if we can survive this. So there are two options here. Either place it on this bottom right corner or this bottom left corner. Let's place it here. So how to block this? We can use logic, right? Did I make a mistake here? No. I can sometimes make mistakes, you know? Sometimes it gets complicated even for me. Let's see this. Yeah. Did I make a mistake here? I didn't, right? $37. I mean, if you decide to play fast and draw all the games in, it's like an extra challenge because it's hard, you know, you don't give yourself the time to think. So you could mess up. I try to do it sometimes, but it's way more difficult, you know? And it's inconsistent. $45. Now I gotta focus really well with this shit. $47. Okay, last game. Last game. And that's 50. 50 draws. If you think you can do it, then go ahead and try. But try to play different, you know, try to make it a little bit interesting. Try to play the side game, try to play the middle game, try to play the corner game, so... Because if you just play the corner game, it's gonna be way too easy. It's no longer a challenge. Anyways, if you wanna learn how to master tic-tac-toe, how to play it perfectly, check out my video, the ultimate guide on how to never lose in tic-tac-toe. I mean, optimality and it's like perfection and optimality are the same thing in tic-tac-toe. Because most, like, we could say, yeah, in most cases, we could say that the optimal moves are the ones that are like obvious solutions to humans, like in some complex positions, particularly in some in some side games, you know, in games that start with the side, you know. It's like there are some complex positions that there are many solutions to him, but the most obvious solutions, according to humans, are usually where you place it in the middle. So we could say that it's the optimal solution to the game, but there are multiple like perfect moves, perfect solutions. Anyway, so the game is way too simple, only like I think 255,000 possible positions, like 5,000 possible moves or something like that. Like, I mean, in comparison to chess, it's nothing. Chess, what is like the Shannon number, like, how much is the Shannon number? Like 10 to the power of 120, possible positions. Like, I mean, including the legal and illegal moves, right? But only like possible positions regarding legal moves, I think it's like 10 to the power of 44 to 10 to the power of 47, that's an estimation. The problem is that like tic-tac-toe is too simple. I mean, a human can master it, but as with chess, it's like there is too many like, like too many possible moves. It's impossible. You can't solve chess with logic alone. You need calculations. You need to you need to determine like the theoretical value of each position, whether it's a draw, a loss, or win. So that's how you solve chess. But that's specifically talking about like strong solving, because if we talk about weak solving, it's just determining like the outcome from the initial position from the start. When you start the game, whether it leads to a draw, a win, or a loss with perfect play. Most experts like agree that the perfect chess leads to a draw, because even though white has an advantage, 54%, I think, for the white player, like, and the black player has like a 46%, So while like white has a slight advantage over black, but it's like most like experts agree that it's not sufficient to lead to a decisive outcome, with perfect play, the black player, the one who plays with the black pieces, should be able to neutralize that advantage. But let me explain something. A lot of people think that optimality is perfection. As I said, it's not the case. Perfection is maintaining it's like the theoretical outcome, right? So if the position is a draw, it's like maintaining the draw. If a position is a win, it's like maintaining the win. That's what a perfect move is. It's like a move that maintains the best possible, like outcome. Whereas optimality is a move that maximizes the outcome. It depends on several conditions, several criteria that are just extra. They're not essential. For example, TDM, the fastest move, the fastest mate, right? TDZ, right? Zero move, like the safest move that respects the 50 move rule, right? Or the safest, what can I say? Yeah, the safest move that respects the 50 move rule, or the safest checkmate, or whatever, Or it's about like optimality is also about maximizing the evaluation bar, right? Now Stockfish, like these strong engines like Stockfish, Lila Chess Zero, Torch. Now these engines are not perfect. I mean, they are near perfect. I mean, they play like perfect moves a lot of the time according to the table base, right? But sometimes they do play inaccuracies, so that's why they are not always perfect. So they are imperfect, right? Now it's impossible for an imperfect engine to draw a perfect engine. It's perfect moves, right? I mean, Stockfish doesn't always make inaccuracies, right? Sometimes he plays perfectly, right? But there's always this question, like how do you know whether Stockfish is close to perfection or already perfect? Because we don't have like the theoretical solution, to the game of chess. Like we don't have a 32 piece date like table base, right? We only like have a 7-piece table base, and it's like about like 140 terabyte, right, of storage, which is crazy to think about. A 32 piece like table base would be like more gigabytes than like the number probably like more gigabytes than 10 to the power of 30. Like it's gotta be some crazy number, like, you know. So it's not always, so it's not only like a technological problem, it's only like, it's also like a physical limit. Like even if we have the technology, it's also a physical limit. Like I don't know, like when I think about it, bro, like how big like the computer that stores all of these data, how big does it have to be? Like as big as the galaxy or something? Like, I mean, you can imagine, bro. Like I don't know if it's even possible, you know, even or ever possible. Anyway, so what we're gonna do now? This is all leading us to the reaction coming up, because I saw a video, you know. I strongly dislike the content of that video, so let's get to it, man. These 7 videos, you know, like the 7 levels, of this, of that, man. I don't agree with a lot of these things, man. These videos, things that these videos are about, bro. Let's see what he has to say, bro. I don't have that much knowledge in chess, but I probably do know more than this guy, because he has no idea what he's talking about, bro. You can tell from the comments, he's telling people that you know chess better than me. This guy does not, I mean, he probably just made a research or something, bro. And he came to talk about, didn't verify, like, you know, like he probably saw some shit and read it, you know. And most of this shit he says it's like it's filled with bias. I mean, unverifiable information filled with bias, man. Or anyways, let's get to it. Why is this shit not working?
Chess is the most beautiful classical game ever created. It's been played for over 1,000.
Wait, listen. No, he started with his opinion. That's your opinion. That's not. You cannot generalize like that, bruh. It's the best game for you, yeah, maybe, but you can't say like it's the most, because that's subjective, right? Like there is no objectivity in that statement at all.
Years, each opening mastered by scholars, each game played.
Yeah, it's really complex. Yeah, I agree. But there are games that are even more complex, like Go. Have you ever played Go? Like the number of positions is like 10 to the power of 200. You know, it's way more than chess. I mean, whether it's the most beautiful like board game, I mean that's subjective. But it's complex, yeah. But it's definitely not the most complex.
Unique metaphor for life itself. The level 1 player disregards all of this. Likely playing one of his first few games, he doesn't move pieces out of wisdom or patience.
Bro, the thing you could ever show this ISO speed, bro. Like this dude, like he has no idea, man. And most of the times he's trolling. So, like, can you really say that? Can you really place him like? I mean, he's not even a novice, bro. Like the way, like I saw him play, bro. Like he's completely like, I don't know. Anyways, you can't distinguish whether he's actually that terrible or he's acting, man. I don't know. He's probably just terrible, but it's hard to tell, bro. Because a lot of the shit he does is for, you know, like he's acting, you know, for views and stuff, you know. Yeah, I mean, he's probably, yeah, a novice still, but not as terrible as he portrays himself to be.
He moves them in a rush to get the opponent's queen or king. Though this is what you're supposed to do, he does this in a stupid, arrogant way. He pushes the rook pawn because it looks strong, chases the queen across the board because it's scary, and sacrifices knights because he likes how it feels to attack. Games last 10 moves, or 100, no in between. Both sides plan for offense with so intense that any defensive moves are made purely by accident. Kings run towards the center, queens are treated like the only piece worth moving, and when a player blunders it, he feels as though the game has personally betrayed him. Level 1 is not about competition as much as it's about...
One thing I noticed about like most people that I played, you know, against, which are mostly novices, is that they tend to bring the queen early, right? Contrary to like, you know, experienced players. A lot of experienced players, it's like they don't bring the queen out early, you know, they don't start queen attacks early because a queen can be vulnerable, you know, like Like in the opening, if you bring your queen like early, it can be vulnerable. You know, you might put it in a position and it's gonna get like immediately attacked by a pawn, so you retreat it back and you lose the tempo. So it's not like a smart idea to bring your queen early in most cases.
Discovery. It's the first contact with a world that seems infinite and advanced. It's the dreamlike version of chess. Pieces aren't seen as tools, but as personalities. Knights are cool because they jump, bishops are weird because they go diagonally, and pawns are irrelevant pieces, not war.
Now, if we talk about like chess, like what is it like? The rules of chess, are they subjective, intersubjective, conditionally objective, or absolutely objective? Now, I think they are conditionally objective because, like, the rules of chess are created, right? So they didn't exist before, like, a particular point in time. And they seem to change. Like, the rules of chess that we have today are not the same when it first, like, was invented. And I heard that it was invented in idea, though it's not verified, right? I mean, most historians like they claim that it's like invented by Indians, right? I don't know. Anyway, so it's something created, right? But it's conditionally objective because if you play chess, these rules are enforced on you, right? So you cannot decide to move the bishop, you know, horizontally or vertically. You have to move it diagonally because that's a rule. Even if you think differently, you cannot, you know? So that's why I think it's conditionally objective.
Even touching. Level 2, the consistent beginner. At this stage, the player begins to notice some patterns in the games they've won and lost.
I think this is what I would place myself. I'm a consistent beginner, you know? I'm not that terrible, you know, completely terrible, but, you know, I'm not advanced beginner or intermediate either, you know? So I don't know a lot of openings, you know? I just play one opening because I prefer it. I'm too lazy to learn openings, too lazy to, you know, practice positions, you know, find play puzzles and stuff, you know?
Been made it enough times to know the scholar's mate. They start every game by moving the same not because they understand openings, but because it feels safe. They've watched a few Gotham chess videos, maybe downloaded an app, and for the first time they're trying to make sense of what's happening. If level preschool, this is grade 1. The beginner now knows the center exists, they've heard of development, they know hanging a queen is bad.
I think openings don't make that much of a difference, right? I mean, if you look at Stockfish, it's like whatever opening you play, it's like there is only like a small advantage, right? So it's like evaluation is not that significant. I mean, the difference in evaluation, right? So it's not like that important. That's why like grandmasters play different openings, you know.
But not exactly why. They still think castling is cheating, but at least when they blunder for the 10th
Now what I gotta say, just because you saw like other videos including the 7 levels, you know, you don't gotta make a same video for chess because what I think is for chess there are way many more levels. You cannot like compress these levels into just 7, you know. There is like a novice, a complete beginner. There is like an intermediate beginner, an advanced beginner. There is there is intermediate, you know, like a class C and D, class A and B, you know. So advanced, intermediate. You know what I'm saying? Intermediate, advanced. You can just say intermediate, advanced. There is expert. There is candidate master. There is FIDE master. There is national master. There is international master. There is grandmaster, super grandmaster, world champion. So there is engine level, right? And there is perfect chess. So you can't really like compress all of these things. Unless you want to make a bad video, you don't want to include most of these things, you know, so you don't want to separate between them, then yes, but if you want to make a detailed video, you know, an accurate video, then you gotta give all of these things, you know, their time, you know. Put them in a different, you know, separate category, if that makes sense.
Time in the same position, they know how to prevent it next time. The game begins to feel less like noise and more like a language they're finally starting to understand. Emotionally though, this stage is brutal. Every loss now hurts because the player can see the danger, not the defense. They know mate in 2 is possible, but not the exact moves for it. They're in a constant state of knowing that they're forgetting something highly important, but not exactly what. Still, this is where the foundation is built. The player learns patience, discipline, and the idea that improvement requires failure. A lot of it. They stop moving pieces because it looks fun and start following gambits they found on TikTok. In this stage, players can often sense when they've made a bad move. They know they hung their queen, but not why.
Well, to be honest, from my own experience, I think when you're a beginner, like, it's like, I mean, it's so tempting, like, to just blender up piece, you know, or just play bad. Like, it's like you can't resist sometimes, bro. Like, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels good to just like to just sacrifice your pieces for no reason. Not sacrifice, but blunder, you know.
Additionally, they're starting to dabble in highly advanced chess mechanics, such as discover checks, which makes them feel like absolute grandmasters. This is the stage that most people that ever play chess will stay at. It's the stage before you must learn how to think more than 3 moves ahead. Level 3, the entry-level master. By the time you reach 1900 Elo, you've likely spent hundreds of hours grinding, studying, and losing to people only slightly better than you. You've read books with intimidating titles such as My System and Silman's Endgame Manual. You've memorized openings, not out of love for the game, but out of hatred of being defeated by those not exactly smarter than you, but simply those with better memory than you. In fact, players such as Tyler 1 have proven that one opening is all you need to master to get to this level, with Tyler playing the same exact opening.
I play the same exact opening. I don't know what is. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's the Berlin. I mean the opening where you play like where you play e4, right? You play e4, and then you bring out the knights, the 2 knights. I don't know what is it called. Is it called the Berlin? You know, because there are a lot of openings. I don't know them like how to play them. You know exactly, but I know the names like the Berlin, the French defense, the London system, the Hippo, the what else? The London system, the French defense, the Hippo, what else? I know a lot of these, bro. Like, I can't remember them exactly. Let me think. The Sicilian defense, right? There is a Sicilian defense. I don't know, brother. I know a lot, but I just can't, like, for some reason, I just can't, you know, I don't remember them at the moment, you know? Where is that move, like the opening when you move the king at the beginning? Right? There is this that opening when you move where you move the king at the beginning. It's like a troll opening, right? Like expert players use against the beginners to humiliate them, you know? I mean, there are a lot of openings, right? There is the Queen's Gambit, the King's Gambit, right? The fried liver attack. No, that's not an opening, right? It's like when you play e4, you play the knight, and then you bring the bishop. I mean, it only works on beginners, right? So it's like, so you jump in with the knight, so there is the bishop that protects the knight, and then you fork like the rook and the queen, right? So this is like the fried liver attack. Anyways, let's continue.
About 6,000 times with a 51% win rate, resulting in 1900 Elo. Though players at this level are happy with the progress they've made, they live with a constant quiet frustration, the sense they've hit an invisible wall. Improvement feels logarithmic. You spend 10 hours studying.
No, the mistake that most people make is that they assume that the difference between a 1500 and a 2500 is way bigger than the difference between a 500 and a 1500. But like chess, like the elo is probabilistic, right? So it's based on losing. It's based on uncertainty. I mean, the chance of a 500, you know, elo player beating a 1500, you know, it's the same as a 1500 beating a 2500 because the difference in the rating is the same. 1,000, you know? But if we talk about engines, it's different. Because, like, there is no human error, so we eliminate human error. It's like there is a consistency, you know, in terms of playing level. Contrary to humans, like a human, it's like the playing level of humans, you know, performance level is fluctuating a bit, you know? So it's not always consistent. For example, a 2700 doesn't always play like a 2700. He can play like a 2600, like a 2800, you know, so there is a slight fluctuation. Whereas with engines, it's always the same performance, if that makes sense. And also, like rating is like relative to a group of people, to a pool of players. So when we see that someone is rated like, for example, like 1500, it's relative to the players, you know, he's playing against. For example, if we play Stockfish in a pool, you know, with Grandmaster, with human Grandmasters, then it's like Elo would become infinite because it would win like almost every game, probably draw like one in thousands of games, you know, but it would win almost every single game. So it's like the concept of Elo collapses. That's why with a perfect engine, it's like the concept of Elo would collapse because the perfect engine would never lose, right? So it's maybe draw, you know, with the strongest engines, maybe draw a few games, you know, certain games, and then win almost all the games. So technically, it's Elo is infinite, right? That's why the concept of Elo like collapses with, you know, with perfection, right? And I think that like the reason why I think experts assume that you know that that's like I mean the game of chess with you know perfect play results in a joy is because like the closer we get to perfection, like it's like the less error, right? The less errors are made, you know. I mean, and the more like, I mean, the vast majority of games end in draw, right? So with Grandmasters, it's like the majority of games end in a draw. Because it's like, Grandmasters know a lot of drawing lines and they make less errors, right? And with engines, right, I mean, they know way more drawing lines and they make even fewer errors. That's why it's like instead of the majority of games in a draw, the vast majority of games in a draw. And I think the closer we get to perfection, it's like the more like you know games tend to end in a draw, which tend to suggest that probably like the perfect game of chess always ends in a draw. I don't know. This is just like my analysis.
And gain 10 rating points. You understand more than ever, yet your hands betray you. You play beautifully for 30 moves and then somehow manage to hang a rook. This level is the middle class of chess. The player is too good to ever have a fair game with a beginner, yet too flawed to compete with a true master. For anyone with dreams of becoming Grandmaster, this stage is by far the most irritating. Though if you ask someone at this level to play chess, they'll tell you some bullshit reason like, I love the slow carving of accuracy, or I love the satisfaction of a flawless endgame. But the actual reason that truly drives them to keep on playing is the sunk cost fallacy. They've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours of their life on this game. To stop now would be admitting it was, at least to some extent, a complete waste of time. Level 4, Master. This level is
No,
by
the
far
reason.
the most beautiful because all
Alright,
of the work
let me tell you something, man. So I used to play on chess.com, right? Rated games, I was like 700, you know, 800, 600, fluctuating rating. Now, the reason why I quit is because the rating system is so addictive. It's like it's designed to hook you up, you know, to hook you up, right? It's like the more you win, the more you'd like to, it's like the more you win, the more you increase your rating, right? But like, it's like the more you increase your rating, the more you still wanna increase your rating furthermore. And when you lose, you wanna get your rating back. So it's like this never-ending cycle, you know? When you win, you're trying to improve furthermore, right? So you're trying to win more. When you increase your rating, you want to increase your rating even furthermore. And when you lose, you're trying to get rating back. So this results in this like endless cycle of playing, you know? It's designed on purpose, you know? That's why, like, I think that the rated games are so addictive because of the rating system. You know that it's based on reward, right? So it's like everything that is based on reward, just like gambling, you know, everything that is based on reward is addictive. So that's why I quit playing rated games. I play unrated games, you know, right now, you know, normal chess with computers, you know, sometimes with players without rating, without stress, and it's also stressful, you know, when you play when your rating is on the line, right? It's also stressful when there is time on the clock, when there is, I mean, time on the clock is tolerable, right? But the system of rating is stressful, you know, losing your rating points, you know, you gotta get them back, you know, you get them back, and you gotta get more rating points, so it's really bad, you know, for the psyche. especially with onboard games or competitive chess, it's way worse when there is prizes on the line, reputation on the line, it's even more worse. So that's the reason why I quit playing rated chess games, man.
You've put in over the last many, many years finally begins to pay off. And not just the happy feelings or the fancy title of Candidate Master, but with the actual monetary real world value. In other words, all the hours you put into chess are objectively no longer a waste of time. That's because at this level, players don't just play well, they can
I mean, even if you
clearly
quit
explain
chess,
why.
listen, even if you quit chess, right? That doesn't mean that all the hours that you put in the game are a waste of time, because not everybody wants to become a master or an expert. So, I mean, the fact that you gained experience, that you become better, that you achieved the level, is enough to disprove that you wasted hours, right? Because if you didn't play at all, then you wouldn't know at all anything about chess. So maybe if you watch, you could know, but practice is also essential, right?
Might coach others, stream online, or teach classes. In fact, it's not unheard of for chess teachers of this level to make over $72,000 a year, which compared to
Damn, let me see. That's a crazy of money.
doctors or lawyers may not seem like much, but from a board game, this kind of money is insane. The main point I'm trying to make here is that level 4 isn't as much about the ability to play chess as it's about the ability to concisely explain your thoughts. At this level, you can clearly explain in detail why certain pawn structures will lead to certain endings, whether the bishop pair matters, and whether your opponent has lost the game even while being up a whole queen. You create plans for the rest of the game in seconds, and for the average player watching you, your moves make zero sense, as your thought process has far surpassed theirs. And yet, you're well aware of your own limitations. When you try to correct a grandmaster, you're ridiculed. Watching top-level chess makes you dance
I mean, showing Gotham chess, bro. What level is this?
uncontrollably. It's a sympathy, an
Level
orchestra.
4, right? I mean, you gotta have more levels, bro. A lot of levels in chess. You don't have to follow this, like, formula of 7 levels.
It's everything you've ever wanted from life. At this level, emotion is the main opponent. You have all the right ideas but lose to arrogance or impatience. The real training begins to shift inward, learning to master not the opponent, but yourself. You begin to recognize that chess isn't about talent anymore, it's about process. Every blunder and brilliance is
You know what chess is about? Chess is not, it's about talent too. What do you mean it's not about talent? I mean, some people are gifted, we cannot deny that, right? I mean, anyone who makes it to the top is gifted, because in order to become the best, what do you need? You need hard work and talent, both, right? But anyways, my point is, chess performance is not correlated with intelligence. At least not always. It's about, I mean, it's not something that I said. I mean, Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura said it as well. He said that, I mean, I took it from him. He said it. He said that chess is about practice and pattern recognition, right? So when you see a similar position, like, you use your pattern recognition to play the same moves, right? I mean, for humans, they are the same, because of pattern recognition, the humans try to compress positions, right? So any position that are similar, like, they are the same to them. But for engines, they are distinct. That's why, like, they see several positions, while with humans, they don't see that much, because they compress positions. And with compression, it's not possible to achieve perfect play, because you are missing, like, detailed information that are necessary. Detailed information that are necessary, right?
perfect reflection of your current state of mind. Level 5, Grandmaster. At this level, you actually look like a superhuman. You think way too fast, you know what to do way too fast, and for some reason, everything just works.
No, there is a difference between a Grandmaster and a Super Grandmaster. You should have included the Super Grandmaster. You didn't include it. It's not an official title, right? But it's for, like, players who are above 2700s. I think there are only like 35 in the world or something, 38. You know, there are very few players who surpass, like, a FIDE rating of 2700, right? But I think you should separate between the two, because like Hikaru Nakamura is a Super Grandmaster. Super Grandmaster is like they're way above the level of regular Grandmasters, like You know, so you can't really put them in the same category. So
These players no longer even need to look at the chessboard to win the game, as the game is played largely within their own minds. They instantly know how to win positions they've never even seen before. They can play blindfolded games against 10 masters at once, and in Blitz, they aren't limited by how fast their minds can work, but rather by how fast their hands can move. Also, if you thought the concept of chess being a sport was false, you'd actually mostly be correct.
I mean, these guys are so like grandmasters, bro. Like they're so good, bro. Like in terms of speed, not only in terms of processing, but also in terms of speed. Like if you look at the bullet matches, you know, on the ultra bullet matches, they're so fast. Like you can even like you be like, you know, as a regular, you know, or a novice player, you're like, how is this even possible? How it's even possible to make like good moves with that speed, right? So it's really crazy, you know?
At this level, the saying does finally become true, as these grandmasters use so much energy that they usually lose about 11 pounds per tournament, with
Man,
Anatoly
it's crazy,
Karpov
man.
losing 22 pounds in a 1984 tournament simply from thinking. This level also
It's
represents
crazy.
confidence without arrogance, mostly. They trust themselves completely because they've tested themselves tens of thousands of times. At this altitude, chess becomes a performance art. A level 5 player doesn't just win, they entertain. They see possibilities in seconds
I never thought it was possible to lose weight using, you know, playing chess. This is really crazy.
others wouldn't notice from a week of looking at the same exact position. And they do it live, on camera, without really even finding it all that impressive. Still, perfection remains out of reach. Even at this level, you will never be the best.
I mean, not even engines are perfect, so and there is a huge gap between like engines and the best human players, the best engines and the best human players. I mean, look at Hikaru Nakamura. He played with he played against like Lila Chizzer on Lichess, right? With night odds, like he got dominated, like 10-1 or something. You know, he played with Rogue odds. He still lost like 4.5 to 9.5. So it's not even close. I mean, the difference is massive. And we're not even talking about Stockfish 18, you know, the latest Stockfish, the strongest engine in the world. So you can't really compare. I mean, it's really massive, but the difference I think between the top engines and the perfect chess engine is not that big, you know? At least what I think.
Of the world. Level 6, the elite. At this height, you are the true final boss of chess. For anyone to beat you is an accomplishment they'll remember and boast about for life. To get to this position, you don't just need talent or hard work. Players at this level have literally lived chess. Magnus, for example, started at age 5 and by age 12 defeated his first grandmaster in 2003. His opponents don't ever need to blunder.
Magnus started at age 5, Hikaru started at 7. Gotham Chess, I think 4 or 5, right?
They simply decay. And yet, even at this level, it's still possible to blunder the game in just a few moves.
'cause
Interestingly,
you're a
at
human
level 6,
error,
something
okay?
that's been missing since level 1 finally returns. Creativity. Having mastered the fundamentals, you can now bend them. They experiment with openings, try absurd ideas, and play endgames from unequal positions just to prove they can win them. Level 7, when mastery devours its maker. Above all understanding lies obsession, when the player and the game become indistinguishable. The only person known to have reached this position was Bobby Fischer.
No way, bro. No way you're telling me you're putting Bobby Fischer above Kasparov and Magnus Carlsen. I mean, yeah, he's one of the best, you know? But he's definitely not the best. I would give it to Magnus because modern chess, you know, has improved a lot. Players have improved a lot because of the engines, right? So they're learning from engines. You know, they know more theory. They know a lot. They have more knowledge about chess compared to like old, old school chess players, right? So I'd put Magnus because you know what this is more fierce than before. I would argue. You know, players are getting better, so I would say Magnus is the best. In terms of skill, I think Magnus is the best. In terms of dominance, I think Kasparov because like he dominated for like 20 years or something, right? So I would say Bobby Fischer is probably like the third best player, you know, of all time. This is probably like this is my personal ranking. I think Magnus Carlsen is the first. Garry Kasparov is the second. Bobby Fischer is the third. So I put them in the same category. So they're all like the best, you know. The world champions, you know, they're the best. I mean, they dominated our world champions for a long time. They dominated the game for a long time, right? So I would put them in the same category. Above them, I would put weak engines. You know, that are stronger, right? So probably like Stockfish 8. You know, like engines like that. You know. I mean, like earlier versions of Komodo, right? You know, earlier versions of Stockfish, you know. And then at the top, you know, I would put like the strongest engines, you know. Torch, Lila Cheese Zero, right? Stockfish. These are the ones I would put at the top. But above that, we got Perfect Chess. I mean, these are the engines that are the closest to Perfect Chess. But above all, there is Perfect Chess. And I think Perfect Chess is the skill ceiling of chess, right? So there is a skill ceiling in theory. It's the perfect chess. You can't play better than that. There is a limit to how good you can play, right? There is finite possibilities. Therefore, perfect play is possible. So perfect play, that's the skill ceiling.
Arguably the best chess.
And perfect play, as I said, I may have said, is about making moves that preserve the outcome, right? So it's not about optimality. Optimality is just like an added extra, if that makes sense. Appealing to humans, you know.
Best player to ever live, reaching a rating of 2780 before the first computer beat a grandmaster at chess. In his time, he wasn't just
I mean, the highest rating ever is Magnus Carlsen, 2882. Then Garry Kasparov, like 2851. I don't know who got the third, but I know about Fabiano Caruana, I think 2844 or 46, something like that, 48, 41. We got also like Hikaru Nakamura 2860. I don't know about the other players. This one I know. But if we're talking about like peak rating, Magnus Carlsen, you know, has the peak like the best rating of all, the highest rating of all
best
time.
human at chess. He was the best being at chess. That's because he lived it, created new games out of it, and everything.
No, I disagree. I disagree with that. I think there is bias in this. You can't say that he's better than Magnus Carlsen. You know. I mean, there are both. You know, there's like among the arguably the top 3 best players of all time. But I don't think he's better than Magnus for the reasons I mentioned, right? So I think there is a bit of bias in here. You know, I don't want to attribute it, and I don't want to mind read. You know, attribute it to something that might not be true. But you know, I think there is bias.
Second of every day was just an extension of the board. Moves haunted him, positions replayed endlessly in
Why
his
you're
mind,
showing
not
on
as
Chomsky? I don't
entertainment,
get it.
but as compulsion.
What does a linguist, you know, has to do with chess? I don't get it.
At this level, the human mind begins to fracture under the weight of perfection. The player stops existing in the real world. Conversations feel like
There's no perfection. What do you mean? Humans have never and will never achieve perfection. It's not possible. You know, in the game of chess, you know, because the number of positions is astronomical. Not even engines can reach perfection currently. So how can you say that a human was perfect? So
moves, streets look like diagonals, and people begin pawns in imaginary positions. And your pattern recognition can start to get out of hand. Fischer's genius was matched only by his torment. He saw too deeply into the machinery of chess, and once you've stared into the abyss, it's hard to come back. Your whole life
there's
you've spent
also we
mastering.
didn't talk about Vichy, right? Vichy Anand and Karpov. I mean, they are some of the best players, you know, of all time. I would say among the top 10 best players.
Chess, without realizing the whole time it was simply procurement. This is where the dream of mastery meets its final price. You achieve better understanding than anyone ever, but lose perspective.
He doesn't have the best understanding. I personally think that the best understanding, you know, I don't know, it's probably Magnus, you know, as I said, someone from the, you know, who's a modern chess player who plays currently, you know, in the modern time. I think that's, you know, like a chess player, you know, you gotta be one of the best chess players nowadays, you know, who has the best understanding of chess.
The beauty that initially drew you in becomes the very prison that holds you in place. Every flaw you begin to notice in the game itself causes your mind to physically hurt. And yet, without people like Fischer, the rest of us would never know how deep the rabbit hole truly goes. They've shown us the current limit.
Maybe
and what
this guy
happens when you
understands chess way deeper, you know, than average people, you know, so I agree.
break through it. To study Fischer is to confront the limits of genius.
But also these guys don't have no idea about, they don't understand chess compared to the top engines, so there is a higher level. You didn't include a higher level, right? There is a higher level. So you put it as if these top chess players, you know, big chess players of all that, they are the peak, but they're not the peak. The peak is perfection, right? Before perfection, we got the top engines who are near perfect.
And where brilliance melts into madness.
These
He
guys,
loved
you know, the top best players are far away from perfection.
chess until he hated it. In his shadow, every aspiring player is shown that obsession, left unchecked, can consume even the
I mean, the best engines, like top chess engines, they can still make inaccuracies from time to time. I don't think they make blunders. In contrary to humans sometimes make blunders, right? Even like world champions, you know. So
strongest mind. The ultimate reminder that humanity can never truly conquer what is infinite.
anyway, so I don't know. That was too. That conclusion was too like. I mean, the ending was too emotional. I don't know. Anyways, I think this video is not, you know, like, it's not that good because it's missing, like, this is my opinion. I think it's not that good. You know, it's not that detailed. It's missing a lot of levels. There's some bias in it, you know. So I would say like a better video would include all the possible levels, you know, from complete novice all the way to perfection, right? Anyway, so that's it, you know. So this is the stream, you know. Every time I try something different. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're new, and I'm out, bro.